Hello and welcome to the Film Whisperers, where two movie nerds talk all things film with a contemporary lens. My name is Saj.
And my name is Matt.
So we've been talking about the 70s.
All things 70s, which is like actually kind of recent history. Like it's not that long ago, but it feels like a long time ago when you think of like, I guess the attitudes and things that were presented in movies. Like we were just talking before about, you know, movies that haven't aged very well because of like some of the things they portray in them, whatever. And even though the 70s isn't really that long ago, it feels like a lifetime. It feels like much longer ago because of some of the themes and ways that people communicated, like some of the kind of like casual homophobia or like sexism and stuff like that.
And the racism, like we spoke about the Wiz, you know, like totally. You gotta think of like, well, there's reasons why that film failed. Yeah.
So now we'll have a bit of a chat about movies from the 70s that are our WTF movies, or movies that surprised us, or we thought were a bit strange, or left a kind of interesting impression. So are there any that come to mind when you think of WTF in the 70s?
Yeah, and it's funny, the film that I'm about to talk about, you know, those that know me, if I was to, you know, tell them that this is a film that I enjoyed, they'd kind of look at me quite strangely because they know the type of music I like. But so have you heard of a film called Tommy?
No, I have not.
Okay, so have you heard of the band The Who?
Like, I know that there was a band called The Who, but I've never heard their music. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know them either, except for this film. Tommy, it's a musical. It's based off, I believe it's a rock musical, a stage rock musical that's done by this band called The Who. And, you know, I think The Who was this really, really famous 70s band, and they had, I guess, quite a few hits, but this film has their music in it, and they pretty much wrote an album, I think it was called Tommy, and then that became this film.
What's the general kind of like story without saying?
Okay, so it's a really weird story. So it's about a boy who has a disability. I cannot remember exactly what the disability is, but his dad takes him to all these different people, and in the film these different people are played by celebrities.
Okay.
And each scene where he's taken to just so that he could be healed is a song. So I know that the two biggest artists in it, Elton John's in it, and he has a song called, I think it's called The Pinball Wizard.
Okay.
Tina Turner is in it, and she has a song called The Acid Queen.
And these are songs by The Who, but performed by like Elton John and Tina. Right, I got you.
Yeah. And the lead actor in it, he's the lead singer of The Who, so he's the guy who needs healing.
And when you say it's part of like your WTF movie, is that because it's like just weird? Like, is the kind of way it's shot and stuff like a bit?
It is weird, but it's also it was just surprising because I mean I don't really know much about The Who. It's a band that I guess my older millennial generation never really engaged with, and you know, you'd just think that. I mean, I would put The Who in the same league as those other blokey white rock bands, like your AC/DCs, and I don't know, like it's just that sort of same, Pink Floyd, and so it's just not my jam.
So then my question is like, do you need to kind of appreciate not The Who, but like rock music to like the movie?
No, because they call it a rock opera, but it's not really rock music.
Okay.
It's just it's just I guess 70s music. It's really good. It's a really good music album to me. And I would really recommend you and people listening to watch it. It's just different and it's weird, and I guess it's a WTF because I traditionally wouldn't like that sort of that style and that music, but because it's just done differently, it's just I found it quite engaging.
I'm definitely intrigued. Like I feel like I need to go home and watch the trailer and like check it out because it does sound interesting.
Yeah, just at least just watch it for the music.
Yeah. And
I don't know, whether it would stand the test of time, but I remember watching it just going, this seems harmless, and it's got good music. But anyway, enough about Tommy. What would yours be?
Mine was probably a pretty common or popular, well-known one, but when I was younger, I remember my mum actually saying that one of her favourite movies of all time was The Rocky Horror Picture Show. And so one afternoon, I think I invited some friends over from school, and we watched it. And this is before, oh no, I think I did know about my sexuality then, but I think I was kind of still like discovering, still coming to terms, whatever. And so having previously mostly just kind of watched like movies that were kind of like, not boring, but like about like straight people and that kind of stuff, it's kind of exciting seeing this kind of like, it is kind of queer like movie.
Oh yeah.
And it was just so weird and different and fun, and like, you know, I really liked it. I loved it, sorry, I should say. But understandably, it falls into the WTF category because it was just so unlike anything else that was out or has really come out since. Like, it's like a completely unique movie that hasn't really been replicated in any way. Like, obviously, most people know it's like about a couple that get stranded and then end up at the home of Dr. Frankenfurter, who's played by Tim Curry, who does an amazing job. And it's just like this weird sci-fi, like, horror musical, I don't know what you call it. It's like kind of almost defies categorization, but it holds a nostalgic place in my heart because I remember watching it when I was little, and that was kind of one of, I was like, oh my god, like I find myself so drawn to it because it's just so weird and queer in a way that like I just really love it. So
okay, so look, I'm a fan. Look, I haven't seen it in a while, but I guess I've been a fan of it. Traditionally, not having seen it for a while. But can we talk about the language that they use? Now, I guess I haven't thought about it, which is why it's a good place to unpack in this show. But the song "Sweet Transvestite" from, is it Transsexual Transylvania? I don't know. Is it okay to use language like that around being trans or trans identity in this day and age?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm not sure. I guess I'd probably have to ask like trans people themselves, but I feel like, I imagine, and I guess I wasn't around in the 70s, but like maybe that was kind of just language that was quite commonplace at the time. So maybe, that was just kind of the language they used then. And obviously the words we use in the community and stuff like that evolve and change over time. But that's an interesting question. It would be interesting to hear from trans or gender diverse people about, you know, how they see it now, because I know they also like, so obviously the Rocky Horror Picture Show came out in the 70s, but I know they also did like, I don't know if it was like a Fox like, do you know they did like, it was not a remake, it was a remake kind of, it
was a remake, and it was, I believe, for one, it was the 25th anniversary or something, and they got like, Laverne Cox. Trans woman Laverne Cox as Frankenfurter and stuff, and that was, I only saw caught bits of it, but like that looked interesting. So it's kind of like, even though the movie is from decades ago, there's still an audience and like a place for it now. So like obviously when we're talking about bad movies in the 70s, we're saying how like a lot of them don't age well and stuff, but it's interesting how something like this, which is so unique and different, still connects with people, resonates with people now as well. So I do also have to, I guess, point out, you know, that they always say that with a lot of LGBT characters, there's always sometimes an evil storyline to them. You know, maybe, you know, they might be murderers, or, you know, and the fact that Frankenfurter kills Eddie, you know, in a very sort of vicious crime because he gets jealous that Eddie takes an interest towards Rocky, if I remember right. Which I thought was probably not helping.
That's a good point, actually. But even like the scene, and sorry, I know I'm talking about it a lot, but where like Dr. Frankenfurter like gets into bed with Brad and Janet separately, whatever. Like, it was just so exciting to see something like that in a movie, because I was like, oh, it's like, you know.
So it's got its pros and cons from a contemporary lens.
Yeah, totally. But that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us on our 70s journey. You've been watching The Film Whisperers on Bent TV, and we'll see you next time.